And Pascal. Are you ready for the next part? Let's just add a little bit more detail to him. Okay, which area are we going to work on in this video? Let's have a look. Okay, still thinking how to approach this. I'm going to go back to the eyes, smooth them a bit. Whoops, come on Z. There we are, clay brush. Smooth again, tiny bit, not too much. Damien standard, maybe we'll do the trick for getting that eyelid area there. Yeah, let's hide the eyes. They're in a way at the moment. Okay. Smooth a little bit. Damien standard and smooth. The shortcut key, the real shortcut key for the Damien standard is BDS. So it will get you straight the brush rather than going to the brush panel, D, and then looking for the brush. That's actually the only shortcut key I know for a brush. Smooth out a little bit. So I used clay build-up brush plus Alt for Windows option for Mac to actually inverse, to take out geometry, not build up geometry. And it's basically the process is add up, remove, smooth, add up, remove, smooth. Sometimes move. Not smooth, move, just move. Smooth a little bit the eye sockets. Oh, that's looking pretty nice. You see how I managed to get the upper lid and the lower lid, and we've got this intersection on both sides where the upper will meet the lower once the eye needs to be animated for closing when we do the blend shapes. That's what I usually do. I do blend shapes for the face deformation, and then attach it to the controls for the rig. Yeah, I know sometimes it's really hard. I remember judging how the scale of the brush should be, but I mean, you just play around with it and you just keep practicing, and you will know. So S on the keyboard is for scaling up and down the brush. Damien standard, so we get that nice mouth crease there. Smooth a little bit there. We want it very deep in there where the mouth cavity will start. Afterwards, we'll start extruding it on our topology. Smooth a little bit more. Smooth a little bit more. Looks good in profile for the moment. Let's try with a bit crease there, but with the Damien standard. So we have a nice creases where the eyelids will meet as well. Okay, we're getting back to the eyebrows. Here at this stage, I'm still not sure what I would do. Spoiler alert. Like I said in the previous video, I will extrude those parts and I'll have them as separate objects, which will be easier for the texturing part and the rigging part as well. Well, not so much for the rigging part, because I found that it's very challenging, because I've had it afterwards exported as not that much mesh, but double-sided mesh. So when we do the weight paint, it's really troubling, but it worked out well. So I'm just trying, when I work on a personal project, because this is a personal project, when I work on personal projects, the main goal for me is to learn the most out of it, and just try out stuff and test whether something would work and something would not work. That's how I learn. And the more practice, the more knowledge, the more information I can retain, the more I can learn from my mistakes and check whether things would work or not work. So I'm going back to my reference pictures, trying to see whether his eyes are really popping out. They are really popping out, aren't they? But it's very difficult afterwards when I do the blend shapes. It's so difficult actually getting it to kind of the top, especially the top eyelid, to kind of go all the way over the eye, so the eyelids close. If it makes sense what I'm saying. Well, it will make once we get to the other part, if you're still watching afterwards. But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that my main geometry is good, because I think I've changed it a little bit after I've retopologized it. We take it back into ZBrush. That's where we're texturing it. Pascal, we're not texturing in Substance Painter, we're texturing it in ZBrush, and we're doing the UV unwrapping in ZBrush as well, because I found that it would work out better rather than texturing it in Substance Painter. And when I can get away with texturing in ZBrush, I would rather do that. For me, that's personal experience. For other people, it might be a different approach. So, but we are using Substance Painter at some point for the environment. So clay brush and smooth brush. Clay brush with inverse action. Smooth it a little bit. In each of the videos, I've put all the shortcut key controls for ZBrush. Then I would do it for Maya as well, and Substance Painter. Substance Painter is actually basically like Maya, so if you know how to work in Maya, it's the same navigation in Substance Painter as well. But Maya and ZBrush, they're a little bit different, and every time I work for a long time in ZBrush and then I go back to Maya, it takes me a few minutes until I figure out my move in the 3D world controls again. And same if I go from Maya to ZBrush. So yeah, but you get used to it, I guess. I'm still working on the eye sockets because they're quite challenging. I found them quite challenging, particularly for this character, because the human-like ones, it's you've developed the process and you know how it should work and you know how it would work, and you know what to expect. With this type of eyes like his, it's a little bit challenging what to expect and how it would turn out to be. So I'm using the snake hook brush here. B on the keyboard to get the brush panel on, and then S, and then find your snake brush. Don't know the shortcut key for this one. So snake hook brush looks really well. There is one mode where you add geometry just to certain parts of the model. That's what it was showing me, that when I actually started the snake hook brush, it was telling me that it works better in Sculpt Pro. I think that's some tool. It's here at the top. If you can see my mouse hovering over, if you turn on this, the snake hook brush works really well with this, but it's adding additional geometry to it, so I would rather not use it at the moment. So we use the snake hook brush for the chin area. Yeah, works really well. So my plan here was to create all these detail and then extract it and then smooth it out a little bit and have it as separate objects, but at the same time it would not show its separate objects. So it's easier on the texturing maps afterwards. So yeah, snake hook brush is one of my other favorite brushes. I quite often use it for when I'm creating the hair for my sculpted models. And I'm trying to figure out where does it start, you know, the chin detail. Where does it start? How big it is each kind of approximately each part of this detail. And as you can see on the reference pictures, it's not that easy to see. So we need to improvise. And when you don't have proper reference pictures, obviously it's not, all we can do is actually improvise, isn't it? Okay. Smooth out a little bit that bit there. Okay, I think, yeah, this part is a little bit like bigger. It's not so detached. So that worked out well. Just with the bigger draw size, the same snake hook brush, but with scaled brush size. Sorry. Yeah, you can't really tell, can you? Because he's always on an angle or part of his body is covering that bit, so we can't really know. So improvise it is. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, the thing is that it's not in the center of the model. So we'll figure this out a little bit later on. After I extracted it, I think I amended it a little bit. Now I'm looking at the head detail. And I'm gonna do it the same way like I did the eyebrows. Getting into position, checking my brush size, small where it needs to be. How does it work with this? Am I happy? Or I need to go a little bit more down with the size of the brush or the intensity. So the draw size can, if you have a look at my mouse, the draw size here can be amended if you can't remember the shortcut key, which is S, to size it down. Intensity can be, look here, I just changed my intensity a little bit. I like changing the intensity. Most of the time I do work with standard setup of the brush, but sometimes I do need to change the intensity of it. It makes a difference. So clay brush, old for Windows. Is it old for Windows? No, it's old for Windows and option for Macs. I do apologize if I got them wrong, but I think that's what it is. Because sometimes before I was clay brush again with the inverse effect for that area, so we get off some of the geometry. When I was learning, I remember it was so hard for me because some of the tutorials were on a Windows computer, but I work with Mac, so it was very difficult for me to get my first I had to get all my shortcut keys out and then learn them as well, but it is not that bad. I mean, you get used to it. Smoothing it a little bit. I remember it was challenging. It was very challenging, you know, getting the shortcut keys right, navigating in the 3D world. That's one of the hardest things, I think, for beginners. You know, getting yourself actually used to the 3D world. And it does help because I've got quite good drawing skills, and it does help me, but you don't need to necessarily have drawing skills to be able to be a 3D artist. That's for sure. But it does help me that I have some sense of drawing. And why am I not? Have you noticed that I did not have my symmetry on? So I think I'll need to go back on that. Let's see whether... Oh no, I do have the symmetry on. I couldn't see it from that angle. A little bit of add up there for the neck creases. Yeah, the clay build-up brush is quite nice for creases and stuff. Move brush, just tiny bit to move it. Now I'm referencing my pictures on my second screen. Don't think that I'm just thinking, oh, he looks like this. No, I'm referencing my pictures on my second screen at the moment. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's so exciting going through that process again. You know, actually seeing, because paying attention to what I've been doing. Because when you work, that's why I didn't do the recording of the time lapses together with audio, because I do quite like listening to music when I work, and I just work. I don't think, I work. And it's quite nice going over it again to see the process that I've chosen. A little bit of the move brush again. Hope I'm not distracting you with blubbering about other stuff while this is going on. Move brush. A little bit. Clay brush option on Mac. Out on Windows. Are we done with this one? Yes, we are. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching again.